If you want a durable and insulated lunch bag, you can use the link in the description to get 50% off. Just remember to use the code MOVIDEOS. The Lunch Pro supports our channel and it's only fair to share this awesome discount with you guys. Poster boy for this expansion, the Demon Hunter surprised the hell out of me when it came with a tanking spec, and I couldn't imagine what that would be like from a skinny naked guy with twin warblades. But then I saw this, and it won me over. The purpose of this guide is to help new players start off with one of the coolest and funnest tanks to play, and maybe give some fellow Vengeance Demon Hunters a few tips they might have not known about. I won't explain every single spell, apart from the ones you'll be using pretty much in every fight. Before going into the spells and talents, however, there is one passive we need to talk about, and that is Shatter Souls. When you kill an enemy, you have a chance to spawn a soul, which is a purpley, floaty thingy, and if you walk near it, you consume it, healing you for a decent chunk of your HP. During your gameplay, there will be other ways of generating these souls. If you have 5 souls out and you generate one more, you automatically consume one that's already out, leaving you with max 5 souls to manage for certain skills at all times. Now on to said skills. Since we have Pain as a resource, we generated with Shear, which also has a chance to spawn a soul fragment. Spending Pain with Soul Cleave will damage enemies in front and consume all souls we generated so far, also healing you based on pain spent between 25 and 50. The Immolation Aura skill bursts around you, damaging enemies for its 6 seconds duration. Throw Glaive throws your glaive that jumps to 2 nearby enemies, useful to range pull a mob back. One last basic ability we will be taking a look at is Infernal Strike with 2 charges, leaping and damaging enemies upon landing. Very good for mobility, and it's what makes the Vengeance Demon Hunters able to deal with certain mechanics. Torment is our taunt. The end. On to the defensive cooldowns, we have 4 by default. Demon Spikes consumes pain and provides a high amount of physical damage reduction for its duration and increases your parry chance by 20%. You have 2 charges which you can roll for more uptime. Empower Words is our second cooldown, and activating it reduces the magic damage you receive by a flat amount of 30% for 6 seconds, with a total of 20 seconds cooldown. Strong spell that you can use pretty often due to its short cooldown duration. Our third defensive is Fiery Brand, a single target spell that does fire damage for 10 seconds and reduces the damage that enemy does to you by 40%, obviously a boss cooldown since only that target gets affected. Lastly, we have our big boy, 3 minutes cooldown, transform into a demon guy who seems to have worked out more than our Havoc counterpart, Metamorphosis. Transforming into a demon grants us 30% more HP and 100% more armor for 15 seconds, and also empowering our Shear ability to always shatter soul fragments. During the meta, we also generate pain every second. This will indeed be our "oh shit" button. Lastly, we will be taking a look at the Sigils, a unique new take on how tanks deal with certain situations. Sigils are basically runes you place on the ground that activate after a short amount of time, each with its own unique effect. Sigil of Flame explodes and places a damaging debuff on all enemies caught, while Sigil of Silence does what you would think, both lasting for 6 seconds. Sigil of Misery fears the enemy in place for 30 seconds, and if you talent it, Sigil of Chains pulls all enemies in the circle to the center of it, kind of like a mini Gorfiend's Grasp. With their individual effect, each Sigil has its own uses, and I see too many Demon Hunters who don't use them nearly as often enough. One other thing to remember, as with the Havoc build, our Interrupt ability, Consume Magic, generates pain as well, so keep it in mind. Lastly, our artifact ability, Soul Carver, deals initial damage and fire damage over the next 3 seconds, generating 2 souls initially and 1 every second afterwards. Pretty straightforward. You want to use this for situations when you need souls fast. When it comes to the talent, you can pretty much experiment with different builds that might work in any non-high-end content. But for maximum efficiency, I recommend starting off with the next build, which strives in Mythic Plus, since that's where the Vengeance Demon Hunter shines most, but it will also work wonders in raids. First tier, we have Abyssal Strike, reduces the cooldown and increases the range of our leap, giving us insane mobility in Mythic dungeons and helping us bypass boss mechanics way easier than most other tanks. Second tier, we will go with Fallout, making Immolation Aura generate souls on the first damage tick, with a higher chance the more enemies we hit with it. Third tier, for maximum synergy, we take Flame Crash, that lets us generate a Sigil of Flame upon landing with our leap. This is a damage increase and also helps with large trash packs, adding to the amount of threat we generate initially. Tier 4 will give us Fracture, costing 30 pain and generating 2 souls with each use. This will be our main pain spender and soul generator, and the reason we are heavily focusing on souls will be explained a little bit later into the video. Fifth tier comes down to your preference, but I recommend Quickened Sigils, reducing the cooldown to all of your sigils by 20 seconds, and they also activate 1 second sooner. This gives you the chance to react to situations with a quick silence or fear, or if someone pulls a few extra mobs and all of your AoE is on cooldown, slap down that Sigil of Flame and in 1 short second, boom, insta aggro AoE. If you want to stray from this choice, I recommend testing the other options since all are viable, they just change your playstyle a bit. 6th tier Genki Dama, 6th tier Spirit Bomb, no questions asked. This will be our key spell in our rotation. Activating it will gather all of our soul fragments to us, giving us the usual benefit of the heal, but also damaging every enemy around us for each soul consumed. After they get hit, they also get the frailty debuff for 20 seconds, which is what you are really after. The debuff they have heals you for 20% of the damage you do to them. Ideally, you want to activate this with 5 souls, and after that pop Immolation Aura. The AoE damage will also heal you, and with a 20 seconds duration on the debuff, you should have 100% uptime. Last tier will be Last Resort, basically our cheat death mechanic. Instead of dying from taking damage, we transform into our meta form with 30% health and all the meta benefits. It has a cooldown of 8 minutes, but it will save you from a shitty situation, giving you the ability to also heal yourself to full, what with the soul generating power of the metamorphosis. Once you get used to the build, you'll probably proc this intentionally and rotate it with your metamorphosis cooldown, and you should have it for all boss fights or heavy trash packs. Gearing up your Vengeance tank is not as hard as other tanks. Legendaries are good, but I feel it's more important to understand your weakness, which is the lack of strong mitigation such as shield block. You will be taking damage and your health will spike every now and again, but that's okay, because you probably have the most self-healing out of every single character in the game. Seriously, I've been playing Blood DK and I have a hard time deciding which of these two need a healer less. Your strongest and safest stat will be your versatility, since it synergizes with every aspect of our playstyle. It increases the damage we do, the healing we receive, healing which also increases if we do more damage to the frailty debuffed enemies. But I recommend keeping a balance between versatility and mastery. Mastery helps a lot with physical defense, but also increases your attack power. Preferring one stat over the other will change your playstyle, but won't make you weaker or less efficient. I've seen top Vengeance Demon Hunters rolling with over 20% versatility and a little mastery, or over 20% mastery and a little versatility. However, I recommend choosing versatility over mastery and mastery over haste. Haste helps with the cooldown of demon spikes and immolation aura. Agility, therefore, item level will always be your best stat, so keep that in mind. Instead of talking about the rotation, I will explain what mindset you should have, and from this you will better understand why you want to use a certain spell before another. The main idea behind our playstyle is to generate souls and consume them efficiently to increase our survivability. If we play this right, our damage will also increase without having to actually think about it. When you start a fight with a group of enemies, you will jump in for the initial AoE damage and pop Immolation Aura to keep up the AoE damage and threat. Spam Shear and Fracture until you have 5 souls and then use Spirit Bomb. After this, you want to make sure Demon Spikes and Empower Words are there to mitigate the damage you take, depending on the damage you take. And whenever you have 5 souls available, pop another Spirit Bomb. The AoE damage you will do will be crazy and the healing you receive will keep you alive. Honestly, I never saw a reason to use Soul Cleave instead of Spirit Bomb. It does heal you for more, but with a proper and solid awareness, your Spirit Bomb will help you kill enemies even faster. Remember, dead enemies deal 0 damage. And that's it. Almost. The concept is simple, everything else is just situational. Use Sigils when you need to crowd control groups of enemies. Use Taunt and Throw Glaive to pick up stranded mobs and draw them to you. You have 3 silences as a Blood Elf Vengeance Demon Hunter, so never forget that. If you start a fight with a boss, you will hold on to Immolation Aura until after you popped Spirit Bomb for maximum damage and healing. And instead use Fiery Brand, and with the artifact trait Fiery Demise, your enemy will take increased fire damage from you, so time it with your other abilities. That means Fiery Brand just before you pop Spirit Bomb and Immolation Aura for a damage increase. But this is only if you can afford it. Remember, Fiery Brand is a defensive cooldown. Until we lose our artifact weapons, we can still count on our Eldrachi Wereglaives to make us beefcakes. I won't explain every trait, but the main ones you need to remember are very important. Painbringer reduces the damage you take for each soul you consume for 4 seconds. Charred Warblades gives you a passive 15% healing from your fire damage dealt. Fueled by Pain has a chance to grant you Metamorphosis when consuming souls, and Flaming Soul extends the duration of Fiery Brand every time Soul Carver and Immolation Aura deals damage. There is so much more to talk about the Vengeance Demon Hunter, and one video is not enough. Stay tuned and subscribe to our channel for more videos and guides, PvP and PvE. Hit that like button if you think you learned something new and leave us your feedback in the comment section below. Peace!